all of the prospects coming up are position players. All of their top 7 prospects, I think it is, that are in the MLB top 100. It just came out on MLB.com, so go there, check that out. They're all position players, which is really interesting, right? Because I mean, maybe the run was right before this. Obviously, was when you get the Logan Gilberts, George Kirby, Bryce Miller, Brian Wu. Absolutely incredible. Those players coming up, and then the bullpen pieces. Do you think DePoto's waiting on some of those guys coming up? And my concern is that by the time these players come up, like Cole Young, an Emerson, a Harry Ford, by the time they come up and actually become impact players, then you've already lost a Logan Gilbert. You already lose a George Kirby or Miller or Wu. They're already gone, and now you just switch your team from this pitching I'll say this best pitching staff in baseball. You basically switch that to a solid offensive team. Are you concerned that you're going to end up with this? You're just kind of switching one for the other.
Well, 100%. Look, Jerry DePoto, and let's not forget, at the end of last year, Scott Service, it was an ownership move, and they said, look, Scott Service, we're making a move, which I was shocked about because Jerry DePoto and Scott Service were, one in the same essentially. They essentially, came in. Scott Service came in, a year or so right before the rebuild. When they decided to rebuild, that was a collaborative effort from ownership to front office to coaching staff. Scott Service was essentially, connected to the GM, like a lot of these managers are now. When I saw that, I was like, man, all of a sudden that leash is so much shorter for Jerry DePoto in a sense where, yes, you can build the top 100 farm system, and kudos to Jerry DePoto for doing that. Kudos to the fact that the way they develop pitching. But you mentioned something, you hit on something very interesting. You have a great pitching staff. Logan Gilbert, George Kirby. I'll throw Bryce Miller in there as well. Luis Castillo, he's tied up for the next couple of years. They're about to get very, very expensive. By the time, and you mentioned some of these prospects, I'm talking, Cole Emerson, Luzardo Montes, Cole Young, some of these guys. When they're not ready until they may get a call up. They're not ready to be impact players. You can get called up to the big leagues. Oh, he's ready for the big leagues. That's great. But to be an impact player, be part of that core, that's 2 years down the track. 2 years from now, man, you're looking at again. You look at the injuries. Number one,
$1 million contracts.
100%. That's where it gets expensive. And if you want to play this, situation where the payroll stays the same, man, you've got some big decisions to make. So I think there is way more sense of urgency for 2025, and it's I'm not even want to talk about 2026. But when you saw that, I'm telling you, that urgency all of a sudden went through the roof when Scott Service was let go last year. And so I don't think, that's great. They've got a top 100, top farm system, top ranked in Major League Baseball, which is great. But there is definitely that sense of urgency. And I really believe too, I really believe that they were really close to pulling the trigger on whether it be one or two big trades. And I still feel like there's even that sense of urgency leading into spring training to make that happen, because you can't, like you said, you kind of change them one for the other. You cannot keep these guys 2-3 years from now way too expensive.